Hello and welcome to Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Rob Bentley, and thanks for tuning in. On today's show, we'll update you on Ferris State women's basketball, along with men's basketball and Bulldog hockey, as all three get ready to close out the regular season here this coming week. We'll start first with women's basketball, joined by head coach Kurt Westendorp. Coach, welcome to the show.
Glad to be back again.
I know hard to believe that the end of the regular season is here. Final two games coming up this week, and fortunately for your team back here at home.
Yeah, we always say every season's a marathon and not a sprint, but we're kind of coming to the sprinting part of that marathon. So we're looking forward to having the last two regular season games be at home and really try to build some of that momentum heading into the postseason.
Obviously, a lot still to play for your team, not only in terms of the conference and seeding for the conference tournament, but also potentially for the NCAA tournament seeding.
Yeah, there's a ton to play for. Obviously, on Saturday will be our senior day, playing for our seniors. They're going to be graduating and playing their last regular season game in Wink Arena. So, and on Thursday, we got a great opportunity to play a Parkside team that tripped us up back in December. So, motivation's not hard to come by for both of those games individually. And like you hit it on the head, every game now has really serious seeding implications for both conference tournament and NCAA tournament. And like I said before, we just really want to go into the tournament strong.
As we go back to the highlights of this past week, had a big game to start off the week at Grand Valley State on Thursday, and I know not the outcome you wanted, but obviously a great environment in which to play, and your kids really competed, especially in that first half.
It was an awesome environment to be able to play. I think that when we get together with Grand Valley over the last probably 5 years now, you know, that game is really circled on the calendar for both teams, for both fan bases. You know, there's a ton of energy in that building, lots of fans in there early. You know, it was a really competitive game, you know, especially throughout that first half and then the middle of that third quarter. I really don't feel like we played that poorly, but then we hit a stretch where they just cranked up their defensive end of the court, did a really nice job of forcing us into a lot of turnovers. And much like the game at our place where we pulled away in the third quarter, they pulled away from us in the third quarter in this one.
Going into this one, off the first game, obviously they had some changes in terms of their lineup. Lost a player, but they gained one back that didn't play the first time around.
Yeah, Paige Van Stee was a real big difference maker in this game for them, and she didn't play against us the first time. You know, unfortunately for them, Ellie Drosty has hurt her ACL, so she wasn't in there. So it just kind of gives them a little bit different of a dynamic. They also were without one of their post players that played against us the first game. So there's a lot of different style of basketball that they were playing. You know, different matchups for us on the defensive end of the court that we have to get figured out a lot better than we did during this game. But defensively, we really held them to about the same or even slightly less than they had at our place. But GV just really stepped up their effort on the defensive end of the court, and we just weren't able to find answers. We weren't able to move the ball the way that we typically do. We weren't able to kind of find those open looks. And when we finally had those opportunities, you know, we were a little bit tight, a little bit tense, and didn't knock those down at the same rate as we did against them in the game at our place.
Obviously here in the third quarter, turnovers a little bit of an issue. Didn't have a whole lot of field goal attempts here in this therd quarter of play.
Yeah, it's tough when you have 9 turnovers and only 6 field goal attempts. You know, and on the first 2 field goal attempts to start the third quarter, you know, we knocked them both down. So we felt we had a little bit of momentum. You know, we had it as a 4-point game, but just could not find our rhythm. And a lot of that's on us. We need to be a little bit mentally stronger, but it's also got to give credit to Grand Valley. They really stepped up their pressure. They're really in the passing lanes. They did a great job of clogging up that paint. We weren't able to get the ball where we really want the ball to go to open up good shots for us. And we got to be better against them if we have a chance to see them again in either one of the tournaments.
I know not the result you wanted in that game, but you had to put that one behind you very quick. Took on another West Michigan opponent in Davenport, and a lot of these matchups against these two teams really mean a lot in terms of the recruiting here in West Michigan.
Yeah, you always want to win in your backyard. You know, whenever those two teams come up here, that has implications also going on the road down there. You know, we got a lot of fans that'll come out. You know, I had some friends and family in the Grand Rapids area. They always seem to make it over to Caledonia to check out this game. So it was big for us to have a good bounce back, to put the Grand Valley game behind us. You know, you don't want to have them beat you twice in the same week. And if you really stay too focused on what went wrong there and not what you have to do right in the next game, you know, you can come out a little bit flat. And I felt like we did a pretty good job for most of this game against Davenport.
Here against Davenport in the first half, high-scoring first half. Davenport, though, able to knock down some shots here in this first half to kind of keep pace with you.
Yeah, they did an excellent job of being able to get the ball to the paint. So one of our defensive keys was to keep them out of the paint, and we didn't do a very good job of that in the first half. They were able to run a little bit of the dribble drive offense. You're going to see most of these clips where they're scoring, that ball is touching the paint. They're able to move the basketball, and I think they made 5 3-pointers in the second quarter, which is about what they average on for an entire game, is about 5, maybe 6 for an entire game. But offensively, we were really clicking pretty much this entire game. We moved the ball well. We had, single-digit turnovers. We got a lot of the looks that we wanted. So while our defense was maybe struggling a little bit in that first half, our offense was able to keep things going. We really played nice, composed basketball, moved the basketball, had a lot of high-quality shots, and we got the ball to Chloe a ton in that second quarter, and she had a really big first half for us.
She finished with 25 points to lead the way, and as we see her score right here, taking on the Davenport team celebrating their own senior day and maybe a little extra motivation here in this first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we're playing on someone else's senior day, you're going to get their best effort. They're a team that's already been eliminated from GLIAC tournament contention, so it's their last home game. They know it is. So you're always going to get their best right out of the gate. But we just had to withstand that first half. Once we got to this third quarter, our offense kept clicking, but we finally got some stops. We did a really good job just making sure that they weren't able to get the ball quite into the locations that they wanted to. They're still able to get a few buckets on us, but I believe it was a 5-point quarter. It was a great deflection right there. Good ball movement on our part, able to kind of get the run that we needed to get some separation. And once we got that separation, we just kind of salted it away in the fourth quarter.
Here in the fourth quarter play, able to work in some other players into the floor as well, and really didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, it was nice that we were able to get a few more minutes for some of those players that don't average quite as many, but we were in that position for most of the game. Deshauna Day had an ankle injury early in the game, so Eller had to step up, play some heavier minutes. Mia Riley had to step in, play some more minutes. Allie Schultz stepped in, played a few of those minutes as well. So it was nice to see us kind of have to play through a little bit of an injury in that early part of the game, and I felt like everyone who came in stepped up really well.
This week, back at home as you host Parkside, Purdue Northwest, two teams you saw very early in the conference season.
Yeah, it's the big quirk of the conference scheduling is the team that you play the first weekend is the team you play the last weekend. So, yeah, we're watching and looking back at what those teams do, but, both teams have evolved. Parkside is pretty well set in what they like to do offensively, but Purdue's changed quite a bit with what they're trying to do, both offensively and defensively. They have a real good 1-2 punch, and Parkside has just had such a balanced team. They shoot the ball really well. They move without the ball. They're really high-scoring offense. So two big challenges. Parkside is a little bit of a revenge game because they knocked us off, handed us our first loss, and then, like I said, when we play Purdue, that's our senior night. It's our day to make sure that we honor our seniors and send them off with a regular season win.
Obviously, those seniors have meant a great deal here to the program over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Absolutely. We're going to be honoring 3 of them. We're going to be honoring Chloe Idoni, Mallory McCartney, and Amaka Unabaga. And all 3 of those have really poured their heart and souls into this program. Mallory and Chloe for 5 years, Amaka for 4. And they've just really raised the bar and raised the expectations of what to expect, not just in terms of results, that the team has really been able to get, but also just the standards that they show up every day. They work extremely hard. They handle themselves with great character. So we want to send them off of that last regular season game with a win.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time, and congrats on the win over Davenport, and best of luck here. Final 2 home games of the regular season this week.
Thank you so much.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.